Hey guys, KRXF here with the Rider Triple Review. This time I'll be reviewing the RKF, Kamen Rider Zero-One, Kamen Rider Vulcan, and Kamen Rider Valkyrie from Kamen Rider Zero-One. These are the Rider Kicks figures for our main trio of riders, and the reason why I decided to hold off and review these three at the same time, or rather delay their review until I had them all at once, is because for the RKF figures this year, Bandai has decided to not split them up like they did with GO, where there's a gimmick line and then a discount figure line, and with these they're treating them more like the Legend Rider figures, where they're basically just smaller posable figures of the riders without any kind of gimmicks to them. And as you can see, they have a pretty sparse amount of accessories to each of them. But with that being said, let's get started.
A jump to the sky turns to a rider kick.
First up, we have Kamen Rider Zero-One, Rising Hopper. So for the first rider of the Reiwa era, they decided to give him a little bit of a throwback design, with him having a grasshopper motif, since that was the original motif of the original Master Rider 1, as well as bug motifs being just a pretty common thing back in the Showa era, though that became less common in the Heisei era. So, he's got this primarily a kind of neon yellow, black, and red color scheme with a little bit of silver. Now, one thing of note is that though the camera picks up the color as being pretty close to that of the in-show suit, in reality it's a little bit too green, I would say. But it's a color that certainly grew on me, that's for sure. Looking at the face, we can see that the way the helmet design goes is that you've got basically this black helmet and then the face is designed to look like a mask. And this is a design concept that's been used a couple of times in the past. The specific points I can point out would be back in Gen O and Ghost. And I definitely appreciate this kind of design choice because it helps put an emphasis on the Kamen or max part of Kamen Rider. And so you can see the eyes and the antenna here. Got his chest plate here, which has a pretty nice layered design to it. Got the arms, which have a bit of silver striping. Unfortunately, it's a little bit incomplete as it should go down past here, but they decided not to put it into the elbow joint, perhaps so as to not risk it getting damaged. Got the Zero-One driver mode on here, with a little bit of paint in the center, as well as the PROGRISE holders on the sides. Got some more armor on the legs, as well as going down to the feet. Now, being a standard action figure, of course the back is completely unpainted, but it still has all of the right molded details, so it still looks pretty nice. Articulation wise, it's got a ball joint at the head. Shoulders have a swivel up and down. I just have a little bit of a ball in the shoulder, which is something that is a rarity, if not a first, for standard action figures for Kamen Rider. A bicep swivel. Pretty good single jointed elbows, as well as a wrist swivel. Sticking with the same style of torso articulation, we've got this ab crunch instead of a waist joint. Legs go forward and back, in and out. Have a rotation at the thigh. Single jointed knees, which actually go quite far, and then ball joint ankles. Now for his accessories, this comes with a pair of alternate hands, which have his fingers extended in a couple different ways. And so, of course, it's going to be attached by just unplugging the original hands and then plugging these ones on in their place. And so that you can get him into some poses. Unfortunately, he does not come with any kind of weapon, and I certainly would have liked to see him come with the attached caliber in sword mode, but unfortunately it just seems like that was not meant to be.
SHOTRISE.
Second, we have Kamen Rider Vulcan shooting Wolf. Now, whereas Zero-One's suit had a more organic feel to it, and a look that was similar to a motorcycle suit, for the two Ames riders, their suits are more like some kind of combat armor. Though also with the interesting design choice of a kind of asymmetry to them, to where their left sides are basically the base of the suit, which has white and silver to it, and you see it has a lot of mechanical armor panel details to it, whereas the other side is the individual armor for their forms. So for Vulcan, the color scheme for his armor is mainly blue and red, which has a pretty interesting contrast to it. You can see the mask here with the wolf ears and mane, as well as the quite nice metallic eyes. Got the armor here, which has some nice red accents all along it. And a pretty cool detail is that for the hand with the wolf side, got little wolf claws on the knuckles as well as on the toes, which are not present in the more blank side. Got the aim shot riser here on the belt, with the PROGRISE holders. And once again, on the back side it's unpainted, but you do get a bit more color, since both the white and the blue are the colors of plastic. It's got similar articulation to Zero-One, ball jointed head. As far as the arms go, they do move at the shoulder. And another nice touch is that the shoulder pads are on their own separate hinges, so they move along with the shoulders and don't get in the way. You've still got the ball joint in the shoulder, as well as hinges and swivels. Same thing going on with the kind of ab crunch. And of course it still does a thing where you never really see the joint, so it expands and contracts. Same thing at the legs. Though with this being a lighter color plastic, you can see the joint there if you move it too far out. And you got the same bend at the knees and the toes. Now for Vulcan and Valkyrie, they have the same set of accessories. First, we have the two alternate hands, which basically are just kind of more relaxed hands. We can swap one out. Just like so. And then the third accessory is a separate shot riser. And so this is the one that's designed to be held by the riders. See, it's got a lot of very nice details. It matches up pretty well with the one on the belt, though you can see that some of the proportions are a little bit different. And now for that, they also designed it so that, similar to some past gimmick figures, the belt buckle is removable for the sake of show accuracy, so that when you put the SHOTRISE in his hand, which is a little bit tricky, you then don't have it on the belt. Though I do feel like they could have done this or engineered a little bit better, just so that it kept the buckle but then removed the SHOTRISE. But this, it still will suffice for what it is. Though it does come with the price of, with the design, you always going to have him with his finger on the trigger. But it does work out quite well, and so you can use it for some poses.
SHOTRISE.
Third and finally, we have Kamen Rider Valkyrie rushing CHEETAH. This is the first female Kamen Rider of the Reiwa era, as well as the first female Rider Kicks figure. Just like with Vulcan, she has the base rider suit on one side, and then the specialized form armor on the other. For hers, she follows the same basic aesthetic, consisting of white and silver, though with a smaller shoulder pad, as well as it being more rounded. Then for the CHEETAH side, let's see, the mask with the orange bits and the black spots. And that goes all the way down the shoulder to the arm to the leg. Though a few of the spots are unpainted, that could probably be easily remedied. It's got the same thing going on as Vulcan, where we have one set of hands, one hand and one foot, with claws, and then the other set without them. And she also has the SHOTRISE on the belt. Now, one thing I like about Valkyrie's design is that you can tell from a glance that she is a female rider, but she wasn't made too feminine, too girly. You know, it's a pretty modest, pretty respectable design for the armor that conveys that she's a Kamen Rider as well as a woman, but doesn't exactly emphasize it too much to where it's kind of a gimmick that she's a female rider. So here she is compared to Vulcan. Another nice touch is that you can see that the female rider figure here is just a little bit shorter than the male riders. And of course, he has all the same accessory, or all the same articulation as the others. We've got the head, shoulders, though for her, only the right shoulder is on its own hinge. Ab crunch, region at the thighs, or bicep rather, ball joint in the shoulders, wrist swivel, elbow joint, ab crunch, thighs, knees, and feet. And so of course she has the same accessories as Vulcan, as I mentioned, which are the hands and SHOTRISE. And so of course the same thing can be done with her, to where you can remove the SHOTRISE from the belt, so as to get some show accuracy when you have it in her hand. And for her, it seems that she has a slightly better grip on it than Vulcan does. but she can also pose quite well. And there we go. Overall, these three are a fantastic start to this year's RKFs. I only reviewed a few and only collected some of the Legend Rider figures from last year, but comparing them to the Rider Armor series figures, I can definitely say that those ones were overall better quality figures, and so I'm actually pretty glad that I decided to go with this choice of focusing more on making solid figures than worrying about adding gimmicks to them. And it definitely shows in the level of paint detail and articulation featured in these figures, to where these feel like smaller, more affordable versions of SH Figuarts. That's not to say that there won't be any kind of gimmick changing type of figure within this line. Rather, there will be a separate form-changing figure of Kamen Rider Zero-One that's going to release later this month, which will feature his base form as well as a few others. But as far as these ones go, I can definitely say that it was a good choice to focus on just making these good quality figures, because it definitely shows, and I think that on the whole, having now gone into this new series, the choice made last year to kind of shrink down the figures in order to give them better proportions, better details, definitely is hitting a stride with these new figures for Zero-One. So if you're a fan of these riders, I can definitely recommend picking up these figures, although I still do wish that Zero-One came with some kind of a weapon. Next time, I'll be reviewing the Deluxe Attached Shotgun. So, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And if you're new and would like to see more, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. And for now, this is KRX50, riding off.